So how exactly does a single question, asked at a public forum, lead to a journalist's arrest, his resignation, and then ignite a massive nationwide debate? Let's break down the moment a question became a crime.
It all kicked off right here. January 12, 2026. Journalist Rex Tan poses this question at a public lecture. His aim, it seems, was to try and draw a line between two very different historical situations.
And wow, the response from the speaker, British politician George Galloway, was instant, and it was sharp. He didn't just disagree, he shut the comparison down completely, calling it grotesque. That tense moment set the stage for everything that was about to unfold.
But of course, it didn't just end there in the room. A video of that exchange went viral, and the public backlash was huge, and it led to some very serious real-world consequences for Rex Tan. So let's unpack how this happened.
Okay, let's trace the immediate fallout, because from this one question, events just spiraled out of control, and they did it incredibly fast.
Just look at this timeline. It's wild. Within 5 days, we go from a question asked at a public lecture to a public apology, then a resignation from his job at Free Malaysia Today, an overnight detention by the police, and finally his release on bail. All of that in less than a week.
Tan put out an apology, and he took full ownership of the situation. He admitted the question was poorly constructed and made it clear he wasn't trying to make a direct comparison. But, and this is the real kicker, even with that apology on the table, it didn't stop what was coming next.
This is where things really escalated. We're moving beyond a social media storm now and into a full-blown legal matter, with the state getting involved in a big way. So, following some public complaints, Tan found himself being investigated under not one, not two, but 3 different and very powerful laws. And we're not just talking about a friendly chat. They seized his phone and launched a full probe.
Now this is what's so fascinating. Look at the legal toolkit they used here. You've got this old, colonial-era Sedition Act. Then there's the Penal Code for causing public fear. And then, get this, the Communications and Multimedia Act, or CMA. Which is really interesting because remember, he asked the question out loud in person. He didn't post the video himself. Naturally, human rights advocates were not happy about this. At all. The Human Rights Commission of Malaysia, Suhakam, came out swinging, calling the whole thing too harsh and an overkill. They basically said this reflects a really outdated, intolerant way of thinking. And that brings us right to the heart of this legal debate. Because at the center of this entire firestorm is one piece of legislation with a long and, let's be honest, a very controversial history: the Sedition Act.
So what is this act? Well, this thing is a relic. It was created by the British way back during the Malayan emergency, specifically to crush dissent. The definitions of what's seditious are super broad and vague. And the craziest part? Prosecutors don't even have to prove that anyone was actually harmed by what was said. You can see how that makes it a really powerful and, as critics would say, easily abused tool for the authorities.
And you might think a law like this would have disappeared by now, right? Well, nope. Look at this timeline. Back in 2012, the government actually promised to get rid of it. But then, fast forward to 2015, not only did they not repeal it, they actually reinforced it, making it even stronger. It's incredibly persistent. So Rex Tan's arrest wasn't just about one guy or one law. It really blew the lid off a much deeper, much more complicated debate in society about how these powerful laws should even be used and who they should be used against.
And this whole situation really put 2 very different viewpoints in the spotlight. On one side, you have rights groups saying, hey, this law is repressive, it's outdated, and it's being used to shut down important conversations. But then on the other side, you've got commentators looking at the public reaction and pointing out a kind of double standard. They say some people treat the law like a double-edged sword. They want it gone when it's used on people they agree with, but are perfectly happy to see it used against their opponents.
And that really boils down to this incredibly tough question, doesn't it? Is this a law you want to get rid of completely for everyone, no matter what they say? Or is it a weapon that you just want to be in control of?
So, okay, beyond all the legal arguments, what's the actual real-world impact of an event like this? Well, the ripples go way beyond just one journalist and one controversial question. The Malaysian Media Council really hit on a key concern here. They warned that when you arrest a journalist for asking a question, even a bad one, it creates what's called a chilling effect. It basically makes other reporters scared to ask the tough, uncomfortable questions that are a crucial part of their job. And online, wow, the social fallout was immense. This incident got hijacked.
Suddenly, it wasn't about the question anymore. It was being used to attack the Chinese language education system, the UEC. It just fueled these wider, toxic online debates about race and nationalism, showing just how deep some of these societal tensions really run.
And so we're left right here, with this central, unresolved problem that this whole case just shoves into the spotlight. In a society with so many different communities and viewpoints, who gets to draw that line? Who decides where free expression stops and sedition begins? And maybe more importantly, can we ever be sure that line will be drawn fairly?